Looking at the photo, Charlie couldn't help but return to the snowy night in Kyoto many days ago. It was under that heavy snow that he saved Nanako, and also saved Jufei and Ziyu with a hand. Thinking of this, he sighed in his heart and replied to Nanako, "Thank you, and wish you a happy Chinese New Year too." Charlie didn't respond to what Nanako said about snow in Kyoto. He knew that he shouldn't have too much emotional communication with Nanako. In the beginning, he felt that she shouldn't have been trapped by the injuries Aoshui brought to her for all of her life, so he wanted to cure her. Now, she has recovered and he saved her life. It stands to reason that he has completely cleared her. If it involves too much, I am afraid it will be out of the question. Charlie himself knew that those women who liked him might not be able to explain to them, and Nanako was the same. Therefore, keeping some distance appropriately is considered responsible to her. Nanako is indeed a talented girl. From Charlie's reply, she can see his inner thoughts. Therefore, she replied to Charlie, "Master must be spending the festive season with his family now, and I won't bother you. I wish you a happy holiday again." After replying to this sentence, her heart was very sad. She knew that today is a traditional Chinese holiday and the most important holiday of the year, so she sent a WeChat blessing to Charlie. At the same time, it happened that she happened to accompany her father to Kyoto for training in the past 2 days. It happened that there was a heavy snowfall in Kyoto tonight, and she immediately thought of the night when Charlie was the god of war. Thinking of that night, she missed him more and more. Therefore, she also took advantage of the opportunity of New Year's blessing to share the heavy snow in Kyoto with him. Unexpectedly, he didn't even respond with half a word. Although she was very disappointed in her heart, Nanako could still understand. She knew that Charlie had a wife, and even if she liked him again, he still had to keep a certain distance from her. So, she put her phone away and sat alone on the wooden steps at the edge of the yard, staring at the falling snow. Takehiko Ito, who had his legs amputated, was now manipulating the electric wheelchair, slowly approaching. The voice of the wheelchair didn't even disturb Nanako. It's just because, at this moment, all the attention in her mind is not on her eyes and everything around her, but on the distant Charlie. Seeing his daughter staring at snow in a daze, Ito sighed. "My daughter, how can I not understand?" Takehiko has long seen that his daughter has a loyalty to Charlie and has always been thinking about him. Seeing her like this, he can't help feeling a little distressed. So, he coughed and called out, "Nanako." Only then did Nanako recover, and said embarrassedly, "Father, why are you out?" Takehiko Ito smiled slightly and said, "You didn't come in for a long time, so I came out to see you." Nanako said hurriedly, "Then let's go back, it's quite cold outside, it doesn't matter." Ito said with a smile, "Nanako, there are some things that you can't force, let alone urgently, ask for it." Nanako hurriedly concealed. "Dad, what are you talking about? Why can't I understand?" Takehiko smiled and said, "Charlie is a good man, and what is rare is that he is also very capable. Such a man is worth waiting for a few more years." Nanako blushed immediately, however, she did not immediately deny it, nor did she ran away on the spot. Instead, she put her hands in front of her and bowed deeply. "My father, I understand." Ito Takehiko smiled comfortably and said, "I am old, and I can't bear the cold wind. I will go back to rest first, and you should go to bed earlier." Nanako hurriedly said, "My father, let me see you off." Ito Takehiko waved his hand. "No, you like to meditate, just meditate for a while." After all, he controlled the electric wheelchair, turned half a circle on the spot, and returned to his room slowly. Nanako watched her father's back disappear at the end of the corridor, feeling that her face was still hot, so she gently covered the thick snow with her hands, and then she covered her face with her hands. The cold hands made the temperature of her cheeks drop a lot, and Nanako's heart gradually calmed down. After a while, she stretched out her hand again and wrote a beautiful word on the snow with her fingers. This word is Charlie's name. Afterwards, she supported her chin with her hands and watched the snowflakes fall on the word one by one until it became more and more blurred and eventually disappeared. At this moment, she slowly stood up and returned to her room. At the same time, Osaka, Japan is only tens of kilometers away from Kyoto. A one-armed woman, led by several Japanese Self-Defense Force soldiers, came to the Self-Defense Force station in Osaka. This one-armed woman surnamed He, the daughter of the He family of the four major ancient martial arts families in China. She is Ruoli's biological mother, Roma. Since the time difference in Japan is 1 hour earlier than in China, it is already 10 o'clock in the night in Osaka at this moment. Under the leadership of the soldiers, Roma finally entered the Self-Defense Force station after passing through strict security checks. Afterwards, the soldiers led her from a building on a high-speed elevator all the way down. The high-speed elevator stopped at a depth of 50 meters underground. Here is the 3 defense underground base of the Osaka Self-Defense Force. The 3 protections for civilian use are waterproof, dustproof and drop-proof. The 3 defenses in the military refer to the prevention of nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons. Therefore, this 3 defense base is the most closely guarded area of the Self-Defense Force in Osaka. Now, this 3 defense base is used for other purposes. All the more than 50 masters of the Su family, including Ruoli, are detained here. The strong defense here can effectively prevent them from escape. After Roma was brought in, she was directly arranged into a closed room. The iron door of this room is 20 centimeters thick, much stronger than the bank vault. After she sat down in the room, a Japanese soldier reminded her in a low voice, "People will be here soon, you only have 5 minutes. Roma nodded hurriedly and said seriously, "Thank you." The soldier said nothing, turned and left the room. A minute later, a young woman with metal shackles on her hands and feet walked in under the leadership of the 2 soldiers. This young woman had a gloomy expression, and her eyes were full of coldness. However, after she entered the room, those cold eyes immediately stared in surprise, and then 2 lines of tears rolled down. She looked at Roma, who was also crying silently in front of her, and cried out in a choked voice, "Mom?" Roma walked 2 steps quickly, hugged her in her arms with one hand, while gently stroking the back of her head, while lovingly said, "Ruoli, you have suffered."